When I was 15, I came face to face with a stranger hiding in a child's bedroom, and I didn't realize he was there until he looked directly at me. That was the first of three babysitting jobs that still keep me awake at night. Listen, I'm 29 now, and honestly, I've been through my fair share of sketchy situations. But nothing, and I mean nothing, messing with my head quite like one specific night from when I was 15. It was the very first of three horrifying, true babysitting jobs I ended up taking on. And I'm not talking about watching a cousin while my aunt made a quick Target run. This was a family friend situation. You know the type. Your parents know their parents, and everyone assumes it's safe by default. They're cool with me sharing this, by the way. Let's call them Robert and Jennifer, and their kid was 5-year-old Mason. They lived in this massive, gorgeous house in a quiet neighborhood in Naperville, Illinois. Looking back, that's exactly why it messed me up so bad. It wasn't the setting for a three very scary true neighbor horror story. It felt like the kind of place where bad things just didn't happen. It felt safe. It was a Friday night, early fall, but the air had that sharp chill of a disturbing true winter evening. My parents dropped me off around 6:30. Robert shook my hand with this intense grip like I was applying for a job at his law firm, while Jennifer just kept calling me a lifesaver. Before they left, they gave me the rundown. Lights out, door cracked, and one specific rule. If Mason needs the bathroom, walk him. He gets scared of the hallway. Then Robert pointed out the locks. They never used the front door, so he focused on the back door leading to the deck. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Lock both locks." He pointed to the deadbolt and the regular handle lock. I nodded, like, yeah, obviously. I thought a lock was a lock. They left around 7. As soon as the car was gone, Mason was begging for hide and seek. I shut that down fast. The house was way too big, gave me creepy vibes like one of those 4 disturbing true basement tales where kids get lost. So we compromised on video games. You know, those collecting games where the character literally can't die. Around 7:45, I heated up the mac and cheese, the absolute babysitter cheat code. Fast forward to bedtime. We're on the second floor. The hallway is wide and echoes a bit too much. I tucked Mason in, read him a book, and as I left, he asked me to stay in the hall for a minute. I listened until his rustling stopped, figured he was out, and left the door cracked. Jennifer had set me up in the guest room down the hall. I turned on the TV, kicked off my shoes, and scrolled on my phone. I felt like the job was done, way easier than a 4 very scary night shift, but that piece lasted maybe 40 minutes. I was half dozing when I heard soft footsteps. I looked up to see Mason in the doorway, clutching a stuffed animal. He didn't look sleepy. He looked terrified. He wouldn't even come in fully. He just whispered, "Ryan." I waved him over. He walked slowly in, pressing his back against the wall like he was afraid to turn around. He whispered that he heard something in his closet. I went into rational adult mode. "Buddy, how's his creak? It's just settling noises." He shook his head violently. "No, it was a scratch." I still figured it was just toddler imagination, but I said, "No monsters, I promise. Want me to check?" He nodded. I walked him back, turned on the big light. The closet doors were closed. I slid one open, took a quick peek, just a formality, pushed some clothes aside and closed it. See? Nothing. The relief on his face was instant. I tucked him back in, but 15 minutes later, footsteps again. This time, Mason ran in. He was trembling. "Ryan!" I sat up, fighting back a flash of annoyance. "Okay, let's go check." We walked back, but when I got to his doorway, I froze. The closet door was fully open. One panel was pushed all the way to the side. My stomach dropped, not because I thought intruder immediately, but because my brain short-circuited. I knew I had closed it. I looked at Mason, asking if he did it, but the fear in his eyes was real. I walked over and slid it shut. It was heavy. It didn't feel like something that would just drift open. I tucked him back in, but walking back to the guest room, the vibe had shifted. I caught myself listening to the silence, checking behind me. I told myself to stop being stupid. I was 15 in a rich neighborhood. I wasn't in one of those 3 scary true gas station encounters you see on the news. 10 minutes later, Mason didn't walk in. He called out. It wasn't a scream, but a shaky, desperate yell. "Ryan!" I ran. I got to his room and found him sitting up in bed, tears streaming down his face. I looked immediately at the closet. Closed. That should have been good news. It wasn't. "Hey, buddy, what happened?" He didn't speak. He just slowly lifted a shaking arm and pointed toward the corner with the hamper. I followed his finger. For a second, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. Behind the hamper, pressed into the tiny gap between the wicker and the wall, was a person, crouched down, balling themselves up. First I saw a shoulder, then shoes, then a partially hidden face, and eyes looking directly at me. It lasted maybe 2 seconds before instinct took over. I didn't scream, I just moved. I grabbed Mason, yanked him out of bed, and scooped him up like he was a feather. I backed out of the room, eyes locked on that corner the entire time. The person didn't move. They just stayed crouched, like if they stayed still enough, we'd forget they existed. I sprinted to the guest room, locked the door, and called 911. I told the operator there's a man in the kid's room. I spent the next few minutes staring at the doorknob, waiting for it to turn. Hearing those sirens was the single greatest relief of my life. The police swept the house. The guy was gone. They figured he slipped out the front door the second I ran with Mason. When Robert and Jennifer got home, it was chaos. Robert went straight to the back door. I followed him. The top deadbolt was unlocked. He looked at me, face pale. "Did you lock both?" I stammered. "I locked the bottom one." He rubbed his face. "The bottom one pops if the handle gets jiggled. That's why I said both." He wasn't yelling, but the disappointment was heavy. But the worst part? It's thinking about the what-ifs. What if Mason hadn't come to get me? What if I had told him to just go back to bed without checking? If you take anything from this 3 genuinely scary moment of my life, never, ever dismiss a scared kid. The third time I babysat Caleb was the only time I ever stayed overnight at someone's house, and it's the reason it's the last time I ever babysat, cementing this night as one of 3 very disturbing, true, scary stories I'll never forget. I was 17, a senior. I'd watched Caleb twice before. He was 8, super quiet, a bit of a loner. Honestly, easy money. He just played Grand Theft Auto in his room for hours. This time, his mom had an overnight work trip. She sounded stressed. I said yes. I got to their house in Plano, Texas that afternoon. She rushed through instructions, mentioned frozen pizza, and bolted. I barely saw Caleb for hours, just the sound of virtual gunshots from the ceiling. Around 7 p.m., I made pizza. Caleb came down, didn't say a word, grabbed 2 slices, gave me a look like my breathing was annoying him, and went back upstairs. He was definitely colder than usual. It felt weird being in a stranger's house overnight, stranger than staying in a 4 scary true hotel room. But I figured, whatever, just a weird kid. Not a catfish situation, just off. I went to the guest room to wind down. I left the door half open because I hate being enclosed in strange places. I was texting my friend Ashley when I got that prickling sensation of being watched. I looked up. Caleb's head was slowly retracting from the doorway. He'd been standing there, just staring. I laughed it off nervously, called out to him, no answer, just soft footsteps retreating down the hall. Around 11, I turned off the lamp. The room felt colder than a 3 chilling true snowy blizzard. I don't know how much time passed, but I woke up with that heavy feeling that I wasn't alone. I opened my eyes. There was a dark shape at the foot of the bed. It took my brain a second to register. Someone was standing there. I screamed, scrambled for the lamp. Click. It was Caleb, standing rigid at the foot of the bed. The look on his face haunts me. He looked annoyed, but also scared. Regretful? Both hands were hidden behind him. I sat up, heart hammering. "Caleb, what are you doing?" Silence. "Show me your hands." He shook his head no, locking eyes with me. That refusal scared me more than a scream would have. I walked out of bed, moving slow. "You need to go to your room." I reached out, grabbed his arm, and turned him. He was holding a massive kitchen knife. I screamed again, clapping my hand over my mouth. "Get out, go, leave." My voice cracked. He didn't argue. He turned and ran into the hall, still gripping the knife. I slammed the door, locked it, and shoved a chair under the handle. I called his mom, hands shaking. When I told her, the silence on the line was deafening. Then she sounded horrified, but almost like she wasn't surprised. She sent her ex-husband over. I stayed locked in that room for an hour until he arrived, then I grabbed my bag and ran. I feel like I narrowly avoided becoming a headline in a list of 10 scariest true stories of 2025. I was 21 when my sister